Welcome back to the Meet the Athlete podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined by the founder of Best Athletics. You know him, Nick Bester. He's honestly a great character, and I don't think this podcast even does him justice, but he's a really great guy to talk to, a fantastic coach, and an even better runner. So it's great to sit down and talk to him all things running, coaching, his future races that he's got planned for the rest of the year and the rest of 2023. So thank you very much, Nick, for coming onto the podcast. And I really hope you guys enjoy this episode with Nick Bester, just a little Bester, on Instagram if you want to give him a follow. I hope you enjoy. So guys, we're joined by Nick Bester. How are we?
What's up, Cole? I'm all good, thank you. Just got back from a heel repeat session, actually. So smashed a protein smoothie. I was going to have a quick cup of coffee, but ran out of time, so I'll have that after the chat.
Is there no one home, kids or anything, to go and get you a coffee?
I've got a little one. She's at nursery. But yeah, I'll collect her later. So got to get the coffees in before that for sure.
You could start her young. See how well, my parents had me making like teas and coffees when I was little. So I think you should definitely do the same.
Teas, coffees, and beers. Yeah, for sure. I'll teach her how to get them. Definitely.
Yeah, well, my parents don't drink, so I didn't have to crack any cold ones open for my dad. But yeah, getting some teas and coffees was definitely something I had to do. But yeah, so what session did you just come back from?
So you know what? I'm starting my Seville training block from next week. It's going to be an 8-week specific block. And I find that when I do that training, Seville's obviously one of the flattest marathons in the world. So I think there's only 34 meters elevation throughout the whole marathon. So that's less than a meter per kilometer. But it means that I tend to neglect heels quite a lot. And heels are a crucial part of training, even for when training for a flat race like Seville. So I thought, you know what, let me bank some of that elevation now, get the legs as strong as possible, the quads as strong as possible to handle a lot of the training to come. I do a lot of my training in Battersea Park, which is great because you can hit splits and it's awesome. It's like a runner's dream. But at the same time, it's really quick running. Like you don't get much quicker than Battersea Park. If you look at the world's best, they're training in altitude on hilly, tough routes and stuff like that. In London, it's generally flat. So yeah, I had to travel a little bit to get the heels in. But my heel specific session today was a combination of longer reps. So I did 6 times 550 meter reps, which is pretty long. Took just under 2 minutes to get to the top. And then 6 times around 130 meter reps, so around 25 seconds or so, just to get that explosive energy, that those fast twitch muscles going. So yeah, it's a different type of burn heels. I find when you do those, those bigger tempo sessions or even a track session, like your heart rate's obviously through the roof. When you're doing those long heel repeats, it's like more of like a muscular pain. You're feeling like exhausted and the lactate's just building and you're trying to power your way up the hill. But I tend to find that you recover a lot quicker from those heel repeat sessions because you're not absolutely hammering the body, say on like a track or going, 3 minutes per K and stuff. So yeah, just a really solid session. And yeah, I'd like to do it in normal training. I usually do it every second week, so alternate tempo with heels. But when I enter the specific block, it's going to be much bigger tempo session. So getting the heels in now, and I'll do a couple of hillier longer runs to get that elevation gain in, because often I get asked if heels pay the bills, and I'm a firm believer that they are. I know they're crucial. So the world's best do it, and there's a reason why. So yeah, don't neglect heels.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to your training and you're talking about adding heels into your training a bit more, are you coached by someone else or are you self-coached?
No, I'm actually self-coached. So I've never actually ever had a coach before. I've followed like a few guidance and like interval sessions and stuff from sort of things I've seen online, but I've never actually had a coach myself. However, it's something I'm considering. Everyone needs a coach at some point, and why I haven't is because I've loved to like try and test different methods, see what works best for me. Like this is great, this works, this not so much, and then I kind of have experienced it myself. So when the runners I coach, when I give them sort of like a similar structure or things I know have worked for me in the past, and obviously what works for one person doesn't always work for another person, but I tend to go through the motions with him and be like, oh, okay, I remember I've done that. That's sort of a mistake I made. Now I'm doing this. I find this much better. So it's allowed me to be very flexible with my training. However, the margins are getting finer, and yeah, something I've really started considering in the last 2 weeks. So who knows what might happen next year? But yeah, it'll definitely be something I haven't done before. Exciting.
Yeah, for sure. If you were coaching someone of a very similar standard to you, would you make their training very similar to yours, or would you tailor it specific to that athlete? Sorry.
Yeah. You know what? It would be very athlete specific, I think. Because if you look at depending on the type of runner they are, we're all different runners. So I've come from an ultra marathon background. So I've tend to do like bigger mileage weeks. You know, I do a lot of like 100-mile weeks throughout the 8-week block, which is very high mileage. Whereas there's marathoners running faster than me that aren't doing nearly that amount of mileage, but their quality is perhaps a little bit more, and they're doing a lot more cross training, let's say, because their body just can't handle the mileage, but they find they're more efficient by doing non-impact stuff. So yeah, I think, you know what, the basis of it remains similar, whereas you're doing like sort of 2 really big sessions in a week, maybe a third, depending on how the body's feeling, or maybe like a half session, smaller session. But apart from that, it would change depending on if someone's a mileage monster or if someone's a fast twitch, come from a track background. So yeah, it would be dependent on that person.
Yeah, for sure. So just for the listener at home, in case they somehow live under a rock and they don't know, obviously you are the founder of Best Athletics. One of the biggest. Did you know if it's where it ranks in like the size of coaching kind of companies in the world? Do you know if there's any that kind of rival Best Athletics?
I'm actually not too sure. I know there's 1 or 2 that are bigger than Best Athletics that have been going for a substantial amount of time. But yeah, I don't know exactly where it would rank. It's obviously grown very quickly in a short space of time, which is amazing. And it still feels like it's the very start still. So who knows where it'll go. There's obviously the Best Athletics coaching side and then the Best Athletics club side. And they're kind of growing together progressively very quickly in the right direction. So yeah, I don't know where it'll end up, but we just got to keep on keeping on. It's quite exciting.
Have you got an ideal size that you would like, or is it kind of bigger is better? You know.
So you know what? I think I've just been letting it grow organically. Let's say I haven't been doing like any paid advertising or anything like that. And you know, I've kind of just followed the sort of principle that if someone comes to Best Athletics for coaching, then if I'm at full capacity, which I actually am at full capacity now, a few spots might open up in the new year, but I always want there to be a coach on the team that's able to help them. Because ultimately they've come for help, and if we can help them, amazing. So let's do that. So yeah, I think if more people get in touch and coaches are at full capacity, that means more coaches. But at the same time, it's not just like, okay, cool, let's bring in 6 more coaches and then fill up from there. No, it's not really the way things have worked or my style. It's kind of just happened organically.
Very cool. I've actually kind of started getting into coaching myself a little bit. I just need to finish the last little assessment, if you like. But I do coach a couple of people, kind of behind the scenes. Don't talk about it too much online and stuff. But if you had to give one piece of information to me as someone who's kind of getting into coaching, what would it be?
Well, that's awesome that you're getting into coaching, and I'm sure you'll find it super rewarding. So good luck with your journey ahead. It's definitely one of the most rewarding professions in the world, let's say. But at the same time, it's very tough as well, because you got to find the balance between your training. You're obviously coaching on the side, you full-time studying, working, and coaching. So it's a constant juggling act as well. So my best bit of advice for a coach starting out, or just a coach in general, probably would be that what works for one person won't specifically work for another person. So I think there's so many principles out there, of which a lot of them work for a lot of people. So there's no right or wrong way to do things. It's sort of just taking like bits and pieces from everything that you listen to, research, have done yourself, finding what works best for you, and you truly need to believe it for it to work for your athletes, because then you can install belief into them that it works, and then that's when you start seeing results. So Like an example is a lot of the athletes that I coach follow a similar structure to me. You know, I'm a 220 marathoner. Some of them might be a 330 marathoner, but it's at a much smaller scale when it comes to mileage and volume and intensity. So the principles are similar, but it's just obviously a lot less. Let's say I might do, 20 times 3 minute repeats. They might do 4 times 3 minute repeats, because ultimately that's where they're the most productive. But at the same time, it's so nice to know that we're going through the sessions, the motions together, and ultimately improving together. So yeah, I think for me, I really do believe it's a structure that has worked for me, and that works for the people I coach, and the results are there to prove it with them as well, which is great. So yeah, it just works so nicely. Don't just try and install principles that you've seen from another coach that you don't know really works and stuff, because then when runners have questions or it does not working out well for them, that's when you might not have the answers they're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. When you're coaching it, is there a kind of, obviously there's a level of respect from coach to athlete. Is there a level of respect you expect back from athlete to coach in terms of making sure that you have the information available, like their pace of their splits, like when they're doing their mileage, like how much mileage they're doing? Is that an expectation that you're given that information, or do you kind of let them give you what they want to give you, if that makes sense?
Yeah. No, it's pretty. So I use a training platform called Training Peaks. It's obviously one of the most used throughout the world. That's really, really user friendly. And anything, like as soon as they do a workout, let's say on their watch, that syncs automatically. It gives you pretty much more data than Strava would give you. So you can see exactly what their week's been like. It also goes, green, orange, red, so you can see how consistent they've been just from a very high level. And then what else is on there is there tends to be quite a few comments as well. So an athlete might be like, went out too fast, hit a bit of a wall, struggled to hold the pace and faded towards the end. And then that gives you good insight into how that athlete's training. And obviously it allows you to be able to coach them in a better way to be more productive. It also allows you to sort of, create your following month's plan off the back of how they're performing, rather than just assuming that they're performing well, because life gets a bit crazy for everyone. So yeah, it constantly needs to be altered per person.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously you did 4 marathons in 4 weeks. I'm assuming that's not something that you'd recommend for your athletes.
Definitely not. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone. But you know what? Like I said, I've experimented with my running a lot in the past, hence why I haven't had a coach. And it was a cool experience. I mean, I don't regret it at all. It was amazing. I live for those international race vibes, so it was awesome. But yeah, my body took a bit of a beating, more from the traveling, lack of sleep, lack of nutrition. The marathons were the easier part. But it took me a long time to come back from that. And to be completely honest, I'm still coming. It was the last one was 2.5 months ago. And I did a 10K PB 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, which I was very happy with. But it's taken a hell of a lot of work to get back to where I wasn't better than before after those 4 marathons in 4 weeks. That took a big toll on my body, and definitely not the most productive way to race or train, but something I don't regret doing. And yeah, it was awesome. I don't know if I'll do it again though.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't recommend. Is there one thing that you have as your kind of like philosophy? So obviously like Canova has his special block. My coach really enjoyed and found beneficial double days. So that's kind of a lot of things. Like I do a lot of double days. Is there anything that you really kind of have ingrained in your training?
You know what? There's probably the structure in general. It's something I've ingrained. So generally, it goes like one easy day, one harder day, one easy day, one harder day. So you recover properly on the easy days, and then you give the hard days an absolute full send. Like work hard. Obviously, don't race it. Save a little bit for race day, but you're working hard on the harder days. And I find that like by either going, into zone 5, or if you're not in zone 5, then staying in zone 2, and doing it that way really helps you improve at a much quicker rate. So that's something I highly encourage. When I see my athletes racing the easy days, it really, they don't get kudos from me, because racing on easy days is not what it's about. So yeah, it's kind of something I really try and install in the runners that I coach. And definitely your rate of improvement increases much more if you smart about the way you're training in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. Obviously you've done a lot of marathons in the world. What is your favorite marathon? It doesn't have to be one you've done, but you think which marathon do you think is the best marathon in the world?
Oh, I've got to say
If you
London
say,
Marathon.
I thought you were going to say comrades. I thought you were going to say comrades. I was
Oh, okay,
surprised.
cool. I mean, you know what, Comrades, it's one of the most, it's an ultra, right? So I can't really compare Comrades to
Yeah, I
London.
guess so.
One
Yeah.
one thing I would say about Comrades is when you finish Comrades, it's, for those of you that don't know about it, it's a 90-kilometer ultra marathon in South Africa. The sense you get of achievement once finishing that race is like, you can't compare it to anything. Like, it's just emotional for everyone at the start with the songs and the build up and the finish. It's just like the most emotional thing because you've put your body through so much just in training as well for it. And if you have the ability to do it, I think you've got to do it at least once in your life because it's incredible. But as far as best marathon in the world, I'll have to say London. You know what? I've been living here for 6 years, and I absolutely love London. I think it's so iconic, beautiful. It's so good for running. The vibe and the buzz and support on race day. I mean, yeah, I want to run London Marathon for the rest of my life while I can. I said, because it's just super, super awesome from the first time I did it and even now. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, you mentioned previously that you're doing Seville Marathon. Obviously very cool. Have you got any tune-up races planned? Is there any specific half marathons, 10Ks, anything lined up?
So I did a 10K week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I'm targeting a half marathon on the 7th of January. However, that's quite early on in the block, because I'd usually do it around 4 weeks before. I think that's around 6 weeks before. So I'm most likely not going to be in the shape I want to be in, but at the same time, it's just a bit of training. It's a training race en route to the bigger goal. So yeah, I really, really like either, a hard half marathon race in the build up to it, having not tapered for it, of course, because the marathon is the main goal. Or if I can't find one, then a hard half marathon effort, let's say, hard tempo efforts, just to, like, racing and putting your body through those hard efforts. It's different to sessions, because sessions you're getting a bit of a break and stuff, whereas that sort of, reminds your body, okay, cool. It's pretty much your heart rate just steadily climbs, and it's the toughest it gets. So yeah, that's what I'll be targeting.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how far you plan your kind of races out, but is there any specific ones you're looking to do, like past Seville? I remember last time I spoke to you, actually in person, you mentioned that you'd really love to come back and do the night of the 10K PBs next year. Is that something you're looking to do?
You know what? It's something that I definitely was looking to do, but another baby in the mix being due a month before changes things a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got baby due so 1st of April, baby's due. So Seville Marathon is the 19th of February, and then I think it's 2 weeks later is Cambridge Half Marathon.
Yeah.
That was my biggest achievement this year, was winning Cambridge Half. That sort of blew my mind. I didn't expect to do that. And I thought, I have to go and try and defend my title. But now it's 2 weeks after an all-out marathon effort. It's like, it's probably not going to happen. It's not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
So I might just go there to support. I'm coaching quite a few runners that are doing it.
Yeah.
Or I might, help out pace someone. I'll see. I'll make a decision closer to the time. And then I'm going to do London Marathon. I'm actually going to announce pretty soon that I'm going to be pacing a 3-hour pack. So who's ever's keen for a sub 3 at London, pull in. I'll get the GoPro going, and we'll get a nice big group going.
Yeah.
And yeah, baby's due, 4 weeks before London. So I'm literally going to zip out, do the marathon, and then I might even run home from the marathon, or quickly, jump on a train and get home. And then nights of the 10,000 PBs in May. So you know what,
It's a bit
timing is
soon.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not ideal. I've really wanted to break 30 minutes for 10K, and I feel like if there was a place to do it, it would be at night for the 10,000 PBs. But that would be impossible with a newborn, and the sleep schedule that comes along with it. So I wouldn't want to put that pressure on and sell myself short. So I'd probably do it next year.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely love to see you race Cambridge, partly because I actually plan on doing it myself.
Okay, amazing.
Because it falls on my birthday, so it's like a little birthday treat for myself. I was like, oh, I could, because I don't tend to race too much. My coach
Okay,
isn't a massive fan of like over racing.
okay,
So as a kind of like respectfully put what the coach's opinion to one side because it's my birthday. I was thinking of maybe doing the Cambridge half, see what sort of shape I'm in. Because February, March seems to be the best time for me to run kind of like half marathons.
Okay.
But yeah, what do you make of the course?
Amazing, amazing. You're gonna love it. I highly, highly recommend it. Cambridge is it's such a beautiful city as well, so it's very cool afterwards. Have you done it before?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so I've done it twice or three times now. I think I've done it three times. Okay, so pretty much it's pretty quick. You know what? There's quicker half marathons around the world. There's one or two like cobble sections and one or two little sections where you go over a bridge in a beautiful park. But apart from that, it's pretty flat. And I would say the last 5 or 6 Ks where you're feeling it the most, that's where the crowds really pick up. And in Cambridge town, the support's amazing. And that's sort of with like 4 Ks to go. So that crowd really gets you going. Yeah, it's just really, really cool. The vibe is awesome afterwards. You finish on a big field. It's normally pretty cold, so take some warm stuff afterwards. But yeah, it's one of the best around, and you're gonna enjoy it. Happy birthday for then.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure I'll speak to you before then anyway. But
For sure.
anyway, just kind of jumping back to Seville, just
Cool.
briefly, is sub 220 still the goal? You haven't decided to leap up to 219 or anything like that.
No, you know what? Sub 220 has got to be the goal. This is going to be my 4th attempt. You know, having run 220 twice this year, I feel like I'm on the verge. But then again, so I've got 9 seconds to find over the marathon. But marathons don't just feel sorry for you and just give you 9 seconds because you're close. No ways. That doesn't work like that. Running's brutal. So I've got to just do what it takes to find those 9 seconds, train a bit harder. To be honest, so I'm targeting a sub 220, but I would love to get into sort of like 218 shape if that's possible. And really just have a good build. Because that way at least there's a little bit of leeway that if something doesn't go right, at least I stand a decent chance of breaking 220 because yeah, these seconds are killing me. So it'll be nice to fall on the right side of it. Having said that, yeah, I had a great 10K race recently. So the speed's there. However, since then it was my birthday and it's been December, it's now Christmas. So I definitely haven't been that disciplined and I'm feeling like, call it a little bit out of shape, overweight, not as fit. But that's great because I want to head into the block. In 8 weeks, you can get so fit in 8 weeks. You can do so much. So I don't exactly want to be peaking now. So yeah, it's a slight concern, but at the same time, I think it's good because it's going to get me out the door for the sessions.
Yeah, for sure. No, I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
Obviously. So I'd just like to move on to the kind of, I guess, the more fun section of the vlog. We've spoken about running quite seriously. So this is the part of the vlog where basically it's Cole's dream restaurant. So this is basically imagine you've just ran your 220, you're absolutely ecstatic, and you're going to treat yourself to a three-course meal. It could be anywhere in the world. That's the whole point. So I'm essentially like a wizard, if you like, where I can take you anywhere. I can produce any food you want. So what I'd like to know is, to start off with, where would you like this meal to take place?
I like this idea. I like your restaurants. Okay, so I would say 2 destinations. One of 2. The first one's the Kruger National Park in South Africa. I love safaris, the bush wildlife, and it's just so peaceful and incredible, especially in the day we live in with social media being crazy and stuff. To just go to the bush for a few days without signal is just a dream come true. So the Kruger Park would be one destination. However, the other destination I'd probably say is South Beach in Miami. Just one of the best beaches I've ever been to, and yeah, what a cool place.
Okay, so maybe we could have the starter and the main in South Africa, and then you could have the dessert and your drink maybe in Miami.
Yeah, let's do that.
That works for you. Cool. Okay, so moving on to your starter, what starter would you have? It could be anything you've had in your life. It could be something that you haven't even tried, but you think it sounds amazing. What would you like?
Okay. Let's go with 2 starters. I'm getting greedy, yeah, but it was a hard race.
You just run 220. Like.
Yeah, we can have as many starters as we want. Okay, so the first starter I would say is cheesy garlic bread with like a little bit of extra cheese, some sweet chili sauce, and just nice and warm. Oh my word, can't go wrong with that. And then the other starter I would have is called biltong. Biltong is sort of like a beef jerky equivalent. It's like cured dry meats from South Africa. And yeah, if you haven't had biltong before, and you're obviously not vegan or vegetarian, then you got to try. It's really, really good.
I have actually heard of it because I'm a sports massage therapist, and a couple of my clients are from South Africa, from is it Durban?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So they've been telling me all about their. Is it when you have it on the braai? Is
Oh,
that
that's it's called boerewors, but yeah, it's
okay?
very similar.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they've been telling me all about the different food and stuff, and that was
Cool.
something they mentioned. But yeah, sounds really good. I'm a big meat eater,
Nice.
so yeah, it sounds right up
You'll
my alley.
enjoy South Africa's and having braais and barbecues there.
Yeah, that's what that sounds good to me. So okay, so we've
Cool.
got your starter. We're going garlic bread, and then I've forgotten the name, but your meaty beef jerky,
Biltong.
biltong. That's the one. And then we're going to move on to your main course.
Okay, cool. So yeah, starters dissolved very quickly. Now we're going to crunch mains. So first of all, after marathon, one of my favorite things is a pizza, and specifically a pepperoni pizza. So nice fresh pepperoni pizza. And
Yeah.
once we finish that, then you know what? Actually, one of my favorite things is like a really good curry. So like a chicken korma curry.
Okay.
That's quite nice and spicy with some naan bread. Oof, can't go
Okay.
wrong with that.
What do you think of like a curry pizza?
I've had one before, actually. I've had a
Have you?
yeah. There's a place in South Africa. It's the only place, and it's now unfortunately burnt down, so I'm never going to have it again. But it was like a
Oh gosh,
Thai curry pizza with some cream on top. Oh my word, it was life changing.
does sound pretty good. Does sound pretty good. Would you like that as your side, or would you like them both as main courses, like kind of one after the other?
Let's have them both as main courses. There's room for
Okay.
sides as well.
Okay. Okay. So what would you pick as a side dish?
Okay, so side dish, two things. One would be macaroni cheese.
Okay.
So good. And
Yeah.
the next side I would say is samosa, maybe like a mutton samosa.
Okay.
Deep fried, fresh. Oh, so good.
This menu is starting to sound like you're going to be the first ever sub 220 marathon runner with type 2 diabetes. Like, yeah.
Love my
So
food, man. Love my food.
yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Cheesy Italian curries. Oh, it's right up my street. So you've got my full support so far.
Cool.
Okay, moving on to dessert. This is my favorite. This is my favorite course of a meal. I love a dessert. So what would you pick as your dessert?
I'd probably go with waffle and salted caramel ice cream on top.
Okay. Is there a specific place you get this from, or is it like homemade is still good?
You know what? Like salted caramel ice cream, I feel like you can get from anywhere. It's just so good. Even if it's not that good, it's good. And then waffle, there's a restaurant in South Africa called Spur, and they make like fresh waffles. I used to have it as like a kid when it was my birthday when I was 5, and I think since then I just got an addiction to them. So yeah, I haven't had one for a while, but that would be my dream.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And you can have one. Well, you can have any drink. You can have as many drinks as you like. For me, it's probably like a Pepsi or a Diet Coke or something. Nothing too major because I don't drink alcohol.
Okay.
But what drink would you like to accompany this pretty hefty meal? You're
Okay,
gonna need
okay. So
something to wash
let's
this down.
yeah, for sure. I'll go with a Peroni pint.
Okay.
Always a winner for me. And then if I'm really thirsty, and obviously beer dehydrates you, then a Diet Coke just to quench the thirst.
Yeah, I was gonna say after all that food and then a beer, like your body's gonna be craving out for some form of hydration. Yeah, that's no, that's good. So
Sure.
I actually really approve of that menu. So I won't charge you for the food. I'll pick up the tab. That's don't you
Thank you.
worry about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just one thing actually I forgot to ask you about
Yeah.
is what sort of kit you use because I'm really intrigued to see what people are
Mm.
using at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, just take me quickly. I think I can see are they Pro 3s behind you?
Yes, indeed. No, those are actually Prime X's.
Prime X is cool.
So yeah. I'm an Adidas boy. So kit wise, are we just going shoes?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. So shoes. So my racing shoes at the moment, Pro 3. So I alternate between Pro 2, Pro 3. I know the Pro 4 is coming out September next year. I'm targeting Berlin. So yeah, hopefully it'll be just in time for Berlin Marathon. And then what you're seeing behind me on my treadmill there, that's a Prime X. So Prime X is actually illegal for racing, unless, well, if you're competing, let's say. It's a 50 mil drop, so the stack height off the ground is huge. You're only allowed 40, so it's 10 more than the legal limit. However, why I use them is because the rate of recovery is so quick. It just protects my Achilles and stuff, and just feels super smooth, especially when running in Battersea. And then apart from that, like a good training shoe, tempo running shoe, I find the Takumi Sen 8 really good, like speedy shoe. And then if I'm looking to do my easy runs, I'll do it in like a Solar Glide or an Ultra Boost. Those are probably my two favorites easy run shoes from Adidas.
Very cool. What is actually your opinion of say your average Joe runner wearing a Prime X, which is technically illegal for the elites? What's your opinion of you kind of the average runner? Does it matter too much?
No, I think it's a question I get asked quite a lot of the time, like thinking about Prime X's, but is it illegal if I race in them? And if you're an everyday runner, no, I think it's completely fine to race in them. If you're competing, different story, of course. But I mean, if you're an everyday runner and you do, let's just say you have a really good performance, and you do like a sub 4-hour marathon, no one's going to come up to, or maybe your mates might give you, a bit of stick for it, but no one's going to be like, oh, you should be disqualified because you had illegal shoes. No, I think that's completely fine.
Yeah, I think I would definitely get some abuse from my friends if I wore them. But and then just one final question, just while I think about it, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. Is I absolutely love the design of your Best Athletics kit. I just love the blue and the white. What made you come up with that, or is it just kind of like a bit of a spur of the moment sort of thing?
Oh, cool. Thanks. I'm glad you love it. You know what? I went through a few designs in the beginning. Originally, it was for a few runners that I coached. Best Athletics wasn't even a registered club then. So I didn't realize that, merchandise would actually be a big thing of the club at some point. And I went through a few designs. I really liked the half look to it. And then blue and white, it was actually my original club where I was from in South Africa. And I've always just loved the combo. And after seeing this design, I was kind of like, sold, done. And it's just been really cool to see. When I was on my run earlier, I actually saw 3 people running in the Best Athletics vest, and 2 of them I didn't even know, so that was pretty cool. Waved hello and stuff.
I have to say, you're getting close to London when you start seeing a lot of the blue and white.
Cool, appreciate it. We'll definitely send you some when you come visit London. You can get one.
Oh, I appreciate that. Anyway, cool. I hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming on to the pod. It's been great to chat to you.
Amazing. Thanks. So good to chat to you too. Have a Merry Christmas. I'm sure I'll see you in the new year. Come join for a Best Athletics session, and give Cambridge a full send on your birthday. Okay, I'll be there wishing you happy birthday.
Definitely will. Take care.
Awesome. Cheers, Cole. All the best,